Today I'm going to be building a LEGO World War I trench inside a real trench.
I'm being given exclusive access to a 5-star museum for an entire day. The LEGO build will then be gifted to that museum for display indefinitely. This LEGO mock needs to be excellent, and it needs to be built in just 1 day inside a trench. Later in this video, we're cracking open the museum's armory, doing a World War I LEGO minifigure giveaway, and this entire video is going to be a fundraiser for the Gordon Highlanders Museum. With that in mind, I headed to the museum a week before the building started to recce the trench so that I could create an plan. Right, we've got our Lee Enfield equipped, and we're going to go down to the Gordon Highlanders Moffat Trench. We're going to recce it, figure out what's there so that we can then build it using Lego. Let's go. Right, so let's get inside the trench here. As you can see, this is a pretty deep trench for a British trench during World War I. I'm 6'2" male, and I'm not getting headshot by Germans, fortunately. You can also see it's a pretty nice trench. We've got a lovely little sleeping area down here. You can then see we've got metal sheeting down in the bottom corners here, and then we come to our first officer dugout. So let's get into the dugout and see what we've got. Straight away, what I am noticing is we've got 110-year-old corned beef. Let's give this a try. But you can see we've got this little table down here. Now this is of interest. This table looks the perfect size to build a LEGO World War I trench mock. Seeing as I am in a trench, I should probably be wearing the Brody helm, so let's get back out and look at the rest of the trench. We're going to start taking down some juries as they charge the trench. You'll see that this is a firing shield, and I can open it, and then once that's open, I can get my Lee Enfield through the opening, like so, and I can start taking down some Germans without losing my own head. We've got another little sleeping area down here. We've got a regimental aid post. But then carrying on down the trench, we've got more sleeping areas here. And then, this is where we load up to the big boy. We've got a Vickers machine gun. Start cutting down Germans by the dozen. We then come to the end of the Gordon Highlanders Moffat Trench. Everything that you've just seen, we're going to be building in LEGO. Then we're going to donate that build to the Gordon Highlanders Museum. I'll be using these 6 base plates for the builds because they fit perfectly onto the desk in the officer's dugout. This here is the size of the LEGO mock that I'm going to be building inside a real trench next week. This is the rough layout of the trench. This is the officer dugout. Now again, it's not really shaped like that, but it gives you a rough idea of where things are and how this is going to look. This is the medical dugout. There's 2 key firing positions in this trench. It's that one there and this one here. These are the firing positions the British will be occupying. What's going to be happening on the other side of the mock? Germans down here and pocket Germans down here, and they're going to be attacking this trench. I've brought everything together in Studio 2.0. Remember, I'm going to be building this entire trench in this area here, in this officer's dugout. Therefore, I've decided to design this trench using modular LEGO parts that I can assemble ahead of time. I can actually build them now. Now, these are just some of the parts that I've ordered for this LEGO build. Starting at the bottom, we have this very simple. You can see there's a plate on the bottom. This is 5 bricks high, and then you got a plate on the top. We've got the 1x1 trench piece. We've got the 2x2. We've got the inside corner piece here. We've got the 3x2, the 4x2, 6x2, and eventually the 8x2. Altogether, that is what those look like. But as you can see, with all the parts in front of me here, and of course the parts to my left and also to my right, I need to make a whole lot more of these. There's only one thing that this video is missing, and that is LEGO World War I stop motion. Thankfully, my boy over at the LCM Brick Show has got that covered. So if you haven't already subscribed to this LEGO legend, then go and do it right now or else. I've been speaking to LCM tons recently, and he seems like a great guy, not to mention in one of his most recent videos, he gave me like a 60-second shout out right at the beginning of the video. Some of the stop motion techniques that he uses for his videos are absolutely insane, and I hate to think how much time they take. Subscribing to LCM Brick Show is an absolute must. You won't regret it, and I'll be linking him down below, so go and check him out. So this is something I've never done before, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm concerned that I don't have all the parts. I've got a bunch of printouts, This is what I'm going to be using to try and make sure that I get the build right. And then we've also got like the section by section printout. I've never done as much preparation for a LEGO video as I have for this one here, because if it goes badly, it's a pretty big reputational hit for me and for the museum. It's something I'm looking forward to actually getting out and doing something a bit more real and meaningful as well. There's a lot of pressure to get this done and to do a good job of it as well, because it's a museum and it's a history that I care deeply about. It's finally build day and I'm beginning to realize how important this build really is. This is a 5-star museum and this LEGO MOC will be going on display by the end of the day. After getting kitted up in an authentic British World War I Highlander uniform, I make my way down to the trench ready to start the build.
So this is the desk that we're going to be building on. This is the desk inside the officer dugout and it's perfectly shaped to fit 6 base plates. So let's spread out the base plates. Okay, the first thing that we need to do is join these base plates together, which is why I've got all of these black parts over here. Either side of the base plate, I'm accompanied by artillery shells with timers on top of them as well, which is a nice touch. Now at this point, it's worth remembering that this entire build is about to be gifted to the museum in 7 hours' time. I really need to start getting a move on.
So one thing you'll notice here is I've printed out the screenshot of the Studio 2.0 file so that I can actually tell where the trench opens and closes, because the black parts won't be covering that off. This is where this goes, by the way, in relation to the rest of the build, obviously upscaled ever so slightly. Then this is going to be no man's land with the Germans. We've got a bunch of craters over here. They're going to be charging into the trench that I now occupy. I'm literally right now somewhere here on the build. So this is where the prefabricated parts are going to come in handy here. So we've done enough of the border on the outside for the time being. Realistically, we now really want to start trying to populate the trench that we've prefabbed ahead of time. Again, the trench that I am currently sitting in. So I've got a bunch of LEGO parts with me here, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to try and populate the actual trench. So this bit here is interesting. You'll notice this is where the grenade is, and then the other one on the other side is where the Webley is kept. I've added on that double firing step to match the detail, and then those 2 pieces simply drop in. Areas that are dug out into the side of the trench wall for people to sleep in. That's what this is here, and I'm gonna get that there. This is honestly coming together pretty nicely. This is going to be really, really cool. It's 11:30 and I've got until 5 to finish this. So I've got 5.5 hours to finish this, and in that time we've also got to go look at the armory, we've got to go around the museum. There's a whole bunch of things that we need to do. Okay, so as you can see, we're making some pretty serious progress. We've got the 2 areas here, which you'll see in a moment. We're currently literally sitting in this building right here, in this dugout, medical dugout over here. In approximately 5.5 hours, I will be handing this over to the museum, and as you can see, it's not quite there yet, is it? Once we finish this, I'm then going to go on to the second side of the build over here, which is no man's land. We've got craters, I've got a bunch of stuff prefab for me. I started to put down all of these foundational pieces. I've basically built up onto a grey plate. Once we've got the height on this, we'll then place all of these down all along this area here to build up no man's land. Craters to get in there as well. Once we've got those down, we're then going to use wedges to try and vary the terrain, but step 1 is getting these in. With the build well underway, I'd agreed to meet Jamie, one of the Gordon Highlanders Museum's curators.
There we are.
Jamie, so Jamie is going to be showing us around the museum. This is going to be a bit of a whistle-stop tour. Normally, the museum, you would have a lot more time to go around the museum, but again, we're trying to complete this build, give it to the museum, and it needs to be pretty good, seeing as it is going in a 5-star museum.
We've got our original regimental colours downstairs, which you'll see, which have never fallen in battle. End of the war in Europe, the battle for Gaucus is just one of the many towns that you see urban combat in, as the British Army and the Gordons kind of march on towards Berlin, really showcasing the kind of close quarters combat that was going on inside this section in particular. It's just great. So this is really the closing out phase of the war. February 1945 is the battle for Gaucus.
Jamie also agreed to let me get hands-on with some of the World War I rifles. This is a 1918 SMLE Mark III. This is a 1915 Car 98A. Now it's not just these two rifles on display, because the Gordon Highlanders Museum has a whole lot more.
The armory itself that we've got here, it's a kind of mishmash of things, but the main thing it's intended to do is to show off the evolution of the British service rifle. Starting all the way with Brown Bess over here, get on to your self-loading rifle, the SLR, eventually to the SA-80, so from musket through to your select fire assault rifle. These are examples of men who served under the SOE, effectively parachuting in behind enemy lines into occupied France, actually. The MP40, that was basically stolen off of a German. The MP40 and the MP38 were often taken up and used as weapons by British forces because they just thought that they were effective, and that was it, which they were. He was also using an M1 carbine as well, so he was going international.
We've just come back from doing a tour around the museum, and I've now looked at the time and it is almost 3 o'clock, which means this needs to be done in 2 hours and 15 minutes. Now, have a look for yourself and tell me whether or not you think this is going to be done in 2 hours and 15 minutes. I think it could be done, but it's going to be a difficult build, and to be honest, I just need to start building. Having been on a private tour around the museum, I've eaten into a lot of my build time, and I'm starting to feel the pressure. I have 2 hours and 15 minutes to finish the build. Making LEGO videos like the one you're watching right now can be very difficult to do on a budget, which is why I've been live streaming on Whatnot, selling all of my old LEGO minifigure collection. Now those live streams have done better than I ever could have hoped, and so I want to take a second to say thank you, first of all, to everyone that turns up to the live streams, but also in particular to a few individuals who have gone above and beyond and then some. So in the top contributors list, in first place we have Mufus, who more or less bought my entire Civil War mock. Then in second we have Coldfire777, who bought just about everything else. Clone Trooper Jack bought my entire French Napoleonic army, and then Loyal Piper and Jay McMillan fought it out for what remains of the Scottish minifigures. And here's a list of the other top contributors on the Whatnot live streams, but of course there's many more. Now if you've got plans on Sunday the 17th of August, then cancel them. If you want to join us on the next Whatnot live stream, we'll put the details in the video description below. Make sure you go bookmark the show, and I will see you there on Sunday the 17th. Now back to the video. We've been given exclusive access to the museum for the entire day, but tomorrow the museum will be open to the public. So this needs to be finished, and it needs to be good. I've completed the black border around the outside. I'm going to lay them all up with tiles. Now, I have got 1.5 hours left of building until this needs to be completed, so I better stop commentating and start building. With time against me, I start plugging holes in the terrain. I also finish off the edges around the craters. I build up the black bricks round the edge of the LEGO mock to give it more of a professional finish. At this point in the build, I'm really starting to feel the pressure. I'm starting to worry that I might not get the build done in the time that I have, as I entered the final phase, speed building. I started by blending the craters into the terrain using a few different combinations of dark tan wedges. As I continue with that, I wanted to let you know why every LEGO fan should come to the Gordon Highlanders Museum. Not only will you get to see this glorious LEGO mock and a bit of channel history, but you'll also get to take part in the museum's LEGO minifigure hunt. All around the museum, there's LEGO minifigures that you need to find and collect, and with this video, I'll be adding one more minifigure to the minifigure hunt, Blackadder. Whoever comes to the Gordon Highlanders Museum and finds this Blackadder minifigure first, I'll send you this Baldric LEGO minifigure in the post as a reward. It's important that LEGO mocks have a bit of verticality, so I started trying to build up the terrain so that it didn't look too flat. Seeing as I'm building this LEGO mock inside one of the 2 dugouts, I started building removable dugout roofs and furnishing the interiors. Now we're moving on to detailing. I started to use dark brown to break up the overabundance of reddish brown plates. Realizing that we're still looking at a wall of brown, I started to place a few small collections of poppies, topping it off with a single tree to give the build a bit more depth. We've been making quite significant progress. There probably hasn't been much commentary for the last while, and you may have been listening to voiceovers, Reason being is we are up against a time limit. The build is actually really coming together. The trench is looking really nice. We're starting to get the sandbags in. We're also getting in the barbed wire over here. There's a good bit of detailing. We're also getting these removable trench pieces over here. So again, this is the officer dugout. This is where we literally are right this very second. I've got more trees over here as well. I've got 24 British and also got 24 Germans. We can also see I've got a couple of wee poppy fields over here. I'm going to get another layer of barbed wire on, then we're probably going to start getting minifigures down. It's 5 o'clock, literally right now. Noticing that time is really now running low, I keep speed building as fast as I can. I started placing a few light bluish grey and dark bluish grey stones and rocks, then quickly moved on to lining the entire trench with sandbags, helping to clearly highlight the structure of the trench. Now, I've been trying to find a good way to show you just how much the Gordon Highlanders Museum has to offer, but it's difficult to fit into such a short video. So here's just some of what the museum has to offer. A gorgeous scoped Lee Enfield with a bright tan finish. AK-47s. A surprisingly large collection of kukris, bayonets, real World War II maps, the LEGO minifigure manhunt. Even more drawers full of kukris finished with engravings, Victoria crosses, and 2 of the 4 World War I Gordon Highlander Victoria crosses on display. The highest and most prestigious award for gallantry, modern Afghanistan display, and so much more. I top things off by lining the front of the trench with a few layers of barbed wire. We're now over time and the pressure is mounting. Jamie, the museum curator, has gone home for the day. The lighting is running out of battery, my cameras are dying, and at this point it's just me and the museum's director, who probably wants to go home for the day. The pressure was on to get the build done. We have now finished the build. It is, let's have a quick look. It's almost 6 o'clock. We're still in the trench, and frankly, we're probably holding up the people at the museum. This is what we have done. So, as you can see, the Germans are absolutely charging into this British defense line. Remember, this is the trench that we are presently occupying. In fact, I'll go one step further. That's me. That's me on that trench there, and this is the cameraman. We've also got the medical dugout area here, which you can see somebody is being operated on underneath there. You can see the Germans are attacking from this direction. Some of them are taking cover in the crater here. We've got the Vickers machine gun, which you guys have seen me operate beforehand. This is me on the Vickers machine gun, cutting down these Germans as they charge the trench line. Bunch of barbed wire, bunch of sandbags, a real World War I trench battle taking place, built inside a real World War I trench replica. These guys here, the 3 that are firing from the parapet, we've got one guy looking at binoculars, he's just woken up and he's looked forward and he's like, oh no, we're having a terrible time. This guy's firing his weapon forward. In fact, he's actually hit one of the Germans over here. We've got 1 casualty, and actually further back we've got a 2nd casualty down here. The 3rd casualty for the Germans, in fact we've got a 3rd, and we've got a 4th taking place right as we speak here, because this gentleman here on the Vickers machine gun has just cut him down as he charges forward. Overall, pretty happy with this build. Bear in mind, this was built in literally 1 day, and half of the day was spent in the Gordon Highlanders Museum. So obviously we didn't get the build done in time. As you can see, it's now sunny because it's another day. I've also lost the uniform. Jamie is now once again with us here, and we're going to hand over the build to the Gordon Highlanders Museum. So let me go fetch it. So fortunately, the trench has not disassembled itself as I bring it around.
God.
So that
is a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
wow.
You know what? It's a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be perfectly honest with you.
It's taking my breath away a little bit. It's actually really impressive. Thank you so much. And I actually didn't really even notice this. It's pretty spot on to the layout of the Moffat Trench that we're standing in right now. This is the entrance in that you come in as you tour. That's the office dugout, the officer's dugout.
You can pull the top off it as well if you want.
Can you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's...
And there you go, there's me building inside.
Real. The maps now, that is absolutely amazing. Oh my god. So that's the officer's dugout where it was built. And then that's your firing line, so we're standing on the firing line here. Coming round, medical dugout, which is on that right hand side.
You can pull the top off that as well.
Top off that as well. Oh my days. I mean, come on. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Oh my goodness. And then all the way through to the Vickers machine gun, that we've got a Vickers machine gun on display.
And then that's the exit there.
I mean, that's just fantastic.
If you want to come see this build that I built in this trench, come to the Gordon Highlanders Museum and get the tour, and you will find this build
Absolutely unreal. Thank you so much again.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure working with you guys, and this is a fundraiser video for the Gordon Highlanders Museum. It's not just a build, it's not just for fun. We're raising funds for the Gordon Highlanders Museum, so if you would like to support the museum, donate now. Don't forget to subscribe. So if you joined us on the Whatnot live stream, you'll remember that we're not just doing a video fundraiser for the Gordon Highlanders Museum, but 10% of those sales also went to the Gordon Highlanders Museum. So I definitely have a check in my hands here. Here's your check, Jamie.
There we go. Make it big,
big and square for some reason. Also, big thank you to the museum for giving me their very own Gordon Highlanders blended Scotch whiskey. I look forward to working with the museum again. Don't forget, if you're coming to the National Brick event in Aberdeen on the 23rd of August to meet me and see all of my mocks, then why not head to the Gordon Highlanders Museum as well?